Clerk, do you have quorum?
The process
Proceed to call the first order, please.
of impeachment proceeding, Mr. Speaker, and it is
Order number one, communication from the
has
chair.
now been settled in terms of what constitutes
Order number
process.
two, hearing and determination on the proposed removal from office by impeachment of Honorable Dr. Eric Kipkoech Mutai, the governor of Kericho County.
Impeachment of funding and
Now,
funding
honorable
and
senators, we'll proceed with the
and the
interventions on the preliminary objections
Governor of Nairobi, Mike
that have been raised by
both,
the
Mr.
parties.
Speaker, were my clients at some point.
Senator
And therefore had the advantage
Professor
of
Tom
reaching
Ojenda.
impeachment. But Mr. Speaker, I will proceed to the first objection. Mr. Speaker, the proceedings of this House are
Mr. Speaker,
and
Mr. Speaker, I wish to address a few issues on the preliminary objection that has been raised before this House this morning. Mr. Speaker, there are two issues. The twin issue, one, Mr. Speaker, touch on the propriety of these proceedings
by the council
and whether or not the
for
proceedings
governor
before the Assembly,
as
Mr. Speaker, under Article
preliminary objections do not
181
strictly in
and
law
Section 33 of the County
qualifies
Government
in
Act, my Lord,
objections,
Mr. Speaker,
because the House
are a
has been asked to look
continuum.
at various
In law,
entities
Mr.
and to
Speaker,
see various videos.
the process
That is the province of
that
evidence,
defines the
Mr.
commencement
On that
of
account alone,
impeachment proceedings,
the
Mr. Speaker,
preliminary to us res ipsa loquitur, Mr. Speaker, is not quite res ipsa loquitur. The facts are not obvious because the interpretation and the tilting of all numbers between 31 and 32 are matters of evidence and presentation before this House. And that we have seen from the submissions by the County Assembly and from the other side. Mr. Speaker, I've had the advantage, and I must say this, of litigating the question of continuum in the Wambora case, the case of Marete, Kauma, and Honorable Nyaga Wambora, which was civil Supreme Court petition number 32 of 2014, where the court, in summary, in dealing with Hassan Joe, Said Shabal, and other decisions, my Lord, Raila Odinga, and in citing the National Assembly Privileges and Immunities Act, Section 12, my Lord, Mr. Speaker, insulate this House from any contempt proceedings, number one. But number two, Mr. Speaker, it also insulates this House and other institutions from any claim of interference by other institutions. The Supreme Court, Mr. Speaker, in that matter, defining the independence of institutions as a primacy that must be considered, and the Supreme Court holding our petition in 2014 on the basis, Mr. Speaker, that a house, this House cannot be injuncted by a court. The orders issued by Judge Sergon, Mr. Speaker, cannot therefore stop the proceedings of this House. Mr. Speaker,
Just 1 minute.
Mr. Speaker, just to note that a dark cloud hangs over the head of the governor, over the allegations that have been made. What other place would the governor have to clear the allegations made against him other than in this House? I think this is the opportunity for the governor and for the county assembly and the people of Kericho to know whether or not the governor is guilty or innocent of the wrongdoings that have been leveled against him. Mr. Speaker, allow this Senate to make a decision on this matter by going through a substantive hearing of all these allegations. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Murango.
Asante sana Mutai'S Speaker. Na kwanza ni kushukuru kwa sababu ya kusikiza ombi la kiongozi wa wengi, kiongozi Cheriot, kuwa na wakilishi wandi hapa aweze kusikiza, kwa sababu mimi pia nilikuwa mwakilishi wandi. Na ni vizuri pia waone, kwa sababu kesho watakuwa watu na maybe watakuwa hapa pia. Mstahiki Spika, katika kanuni zetu za kundumu ambayo nyongeza ya 3 ambayo inapeana masharti ya utaratibu wa kusikiliza na kuamua mashtaka ya kumwondoa gavana mamlakani, katika kanuni ya kundumu 80 tukienda katika 12 inasema hiyo masharti yote ambayo imepeanwa ikizingatiwa, gavana atasikizwa na ushahidi utakapoanza utaendelea hadi seneti itakapohitimisha kusikiliza swala hilo. Mstahiki Spika, tushaanza kusikiliza jambo hili na kanuni zetu za kudumu zinasema ya kwamba inapoanza tunafaa kwenda mpaka mwisho. Kwa hivyo nadhani seneti kwa saa hii haiwezi kuangalia namba ilikuwa namna gani. Tutaangalia makosa ambayo italetwa hapa, tutasikiza pande zote mbili, halafu mwishowe tutakuja sasa kuamua tutakapokuwa tumesikiza kila kitu. Kwa hivyo kwa mahali utatuelekeza Mstahiki Spika, nadhani ni vizuri maseneto wapewe nafasi kuamua jambo hilo, kwa sababu kulingana na venye nimesikiliza kesi, kulingana na wakili wa gavana ni kusema kwamba wanakualika kufanya uamuzi, lakini sidhani kwamba uamuzi unaweza fanyiwa na spika peke yake katika muda huu, lakini maseneto wote wanafaa kuja wasikize halafu waweze kuamua. Asante Mstahiki Spika.
Senator Osotsi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, indeed, listening to my colleagues, we are confronted with a very important decision to make on how we are going to dispense with a preliminary objection, because the matters raised in the preliminary objections are very weighty from both sides. And I want to agree with the senators who have said that Rule 30 does not apply in this case. It is the senators to make a determination. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to dissuade you from applying Rule 30, and instead let the senators exercise their constitutional right to determine whether the PO stands or not. And looking at the numbers, Mr. Speaker, I want to pick from Senator Muma, who talked about the numbers of women in the county assembly. I think we would need to get some wisdom or a communication from IBC, because from my experience, I know IBC has been doing rounding off. They round off to the next human being. So when we talk about 31.3, I think the next number is 32. That is what IBC has been doing. So I think we need to look at this matter very critically and decide through a vote on how we want to proceed. And if the decision is in support of the governor's preliminary objection, Mr. Speaker, then the whole matter collapses. And that's the position of the law, because it would not make any sense for us to proceed with a matter of this nature if the PO collapses, if the PO succeeds. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to dissuade you from applying rule number 30, but allow the members to make a determination through a vote.
Senator Chute.
Honorable Speaker, I am not a lawyer. I've been in business for many years. And if you look at what is happening in business circles, you'll find that a shopkeeper writes 999, price of 999. Why are they doing this? It's because they want to attract a customer. The price can be 1,000, but he wants to attract a customer, and he puts 999. Referring you to Section 33 of the County Government Act, it clearly says minimum of 2/3. Honorable Speaker, the County Assembly of Kericho should go back and get 32 people, 32 Senate members of County Assembly, and come back to the Senate. Honorable Speaker, you know, we are not here to sacrifice the governor of Kericho. We need to protect each and every person. If that person was brought here in a way that the Constitution has made it very clear that anything that is less than 2/3 is not acceptable. So, Honorable Speaker, 31 is not 32. 31 is 31. If they can bring the governor here with 32 votes, I'll say yes, that's acceptable. So let them do their homework, Vizuri, and come back with 32 votes, and that is how we'll prosecute this case. Thank you very much.
Senator Mazzaya. Minority Leader.
Asante mstahiki Spika. Mstahiki Spika, jambo la kwanza kwa hivi sasa ni kwamba watu wa Kericho wanaketi wakijua kwamba gavana wao ama kesi yao hivi sasa iko ndani ya Senate. Bwana Spika, hii hoja ambayo iko mbele yetu ya aidha kuweza kusimamisha kusikiza kesi hii ya mstahiki gavana ama kuweza kuimaliza wakati huu iko mbele ya Senate. Bwana Spika, tumekuwa na mifano tofauti tofauti ambayo imekuwa hapa ndani ya bunge la Senate. Nikikumbuka kulikuwa na kesi ya Mheshimiwa Sonko aliyekuwa gavana wa Nairobi. Kitu kama hichi kilitendeka, lakini Senate iliamua kwamba itasikiza kesi yote kwa ujumla, alafu mwisho ndio itaamua. Nataka tuchukue mkondo huo ambao uliwekwa wakati ule na bunge hili. Nyumba ni hii. Masenators wamegeuka, wengine sio aliokuweko, lakini wale ambao wako hivi sasa wanaweza kufanya kama vile ambavyo tunasema kule nyumbani ya kwamba maji hufuata mkondo. Kwa hiyo hivi sasa tuko na mkondo ambao tuliuweka ndani ya bunge la Senate, ya kwamba kitendo kama hichi kitendeka, alafu wakileta kama hiyo preliminary objection, wacha iwe mojawapo ya zile sababu ambazo tutasikiza hii motion ambayo iko mbele yetu hivi sasa. Kwa hiyo Bwana Spika, nataka kusema tu ya kwamba turuhusu ya kwamba kesi hii ambayo iko mbele yetu iweze kuendelea, tuweke hii preliminary objection kando kidogo, ili tuweze kuichukua pamoja na hizi zingine kama vile tulifanya mfano wa Mheshimiwa Sonko. Asante Bwana Spika.
Senator Mutinda Tabitha.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I want to agree with colleagues on the point that Parliament is independent and so cannot be injected. That one we all do agree. Mr. Speaker, the discussion on table in-house today is the arithmetic discussion. An arithmetic discussion of 31.3. Mr. Speaker, 31.3, as a student of mathematics, less 47 is 15.7. At this point, Mr. Speaker, does it mean that 15.7 MCAs of Kericho did not vote on this motion of impeachment, but then 31.3 did vote? Mr. Speaker, it's very clear we cannot have an arithmetic in terms of a human being. And it's so very clear, Mr. Speaker, that 31 MCAs did vote to impeach the governor, and 16 did not vote, which equivalents that number to 47. A very straightforward situation, Mr. Speaker. If 23 senators vote to impeach a governor, 23 vote not to impeach, and 1 abstains, then the governor is not impeached. What is clear, Mr. Speaker, is that the decision on this PO is a decision by the senators. Even when we shall be voting for the next big assignment on Thursday, Mr. Speaker, 2/3 is equivalent to 44.6. The required number